You're listening to the Born to Kick Arse podcast with Matt Tomasi and can be found at borntokickarse.com/episode 66.
Welcome to the Born to Kick Arse podcast, where you're introduced to the most fascinating people on the planet. Learn the ingredients of greatness that you can apply to your life. And now your host, Matthew Tomasi.
Martin Kern was the winner of the inaugural Great Southern Endurance Run in 29 hours and 20 minutes, beating second place by 4.5 hours. The GSER is the toughest 100-mile trail ultramarathon in the Southern Hemisphere and is in the top 5 most difficult in the world. It covers 181 kilometres from Mount Buller to Bright in Victoria, with 10,058 metres of vertical gain and 11,338 metres of vertical loss, and runs across some of the most spectacular, rugged and remote alpine backcountry. In this episode, Martin talks about what he went through, as well as shares invaluable knowledge around his approach, mindset and motivating factors. Enjoy the interview. Martin Kern, welcome to the Born to Kick Arse podcast.
Thank you very much for welcoming me.
So how's the legs? We're pretty much almost a week to the hour, almost. This time last week you won the very first Great Southern Endurance Run. It's a 181-kilometre ultramarathon from Mount Buller in Victoria to Bright, along a lot of the alpine backcountry trails and mountains. How do you feel now, a week after that? How's your legs and your body?
Yeah, I've been recovering pretty well, honestly. So right after the race, I was completely broken. The last 30K, maybe we're going back onto that a bit later, but it has been really hard for me and my body. But basically, right after the race, I was really raked or really tired, fatigued. I could feel the fatigue like I had never felt before. But the day after, I could surprisingly, I could walk pretty well, and I keep have a good feeling. So just keep the fluid getting into my body, and no, I think I recovered pretty well. I thought I would end up my season with that race. So living like 3 weeks, no running time, just after the GSER. But on Wednesday, I ran a running group as well. And I went with the group, and it was just great. Obviously I have heavy legs and I'm tired, but I thought I could be even more tired, but no, it's pretty great. I've been on a run as well today, so just a week after, and just enjoying, just take it easy. I think that's one of my philosophy as well.
So with your recovery, sort of generally speaking, after you've come off the back of a massive ultra, do you sort of have like a rule of thumb? You mentioned before that you try and sort of take 3 weeks off. How does your sort of, I guess, the recovery phase typically look like for you?
Typically, so this one is a bit different because this ring the bell of the end of the season. So I need to take a break of running. I need to take 3 weeks. Christmas is coming. That's perfect. I'm going back to France for skiing mainly, not much running, because it's pretty surprising in Oceania or in New Zealand, especially. There is you can run pretty much all the year, while in France you can cut that with a ski mountaineering season in the middle. So you just don't run from in France. You can run, but I just decided to have only few runs during the week and mainly skiing over winter. So while here it's pretty hard in New Zealand, I'm still doing quite a lot of skiing during winter, but the winter is just only 2 months or 3 if there is a good season. So I just decided to take a 3 weeks break just for my body to regenerate and recover from that huge season I had. So long season. As normally, I would say on a ultra running, I would the week after a ultra, I would keep moving my legs because that will I would eliminate all the toxins and all the the tensions I have in my body. So I would keep moving in the week after, then taking a week off after that. Just 2 weeks, just let's say, for the body to recover fully. That's how it works with me. But I think, some people just taper and do race after race. It doesn't work with me. I need a proper break. So I think that's my way to recover.
Also, with I guess with some of the active recovery that you do, how does your nutrition look like? Sort of now, a week after the GSER, and sort of leading into Christmas, is it you just don't worry about, you're just free in terms of what you eat, and you don't worry about not eating certain things? Is it just everything's on the table now? You can just sort of relax and
everything is on the table. You're right.
Yep.
I just love too much food, and I enjoy celebrating with my friends and family. It's even hard while preparing a ultra. I would go on a strict diet. I'm not really tolerant to gluten or lactose, especially lactose. So I'm keen on, before an ultra, I'm keen going on quite a strict diet, mostly veggies, no meat, no fish, a lot of nuts, all the raw ingredients, the ancient what we could have ate it before. Back in the days where we didn't have any already prepared food. So I like to cook myself, mainly green and no meat. But that's true after a race. I need something else. I need at least a week off, everything on the table, have a few beers, some good drink, and just celebrate.
Nutrition is definitely something that I want to sort of circle back to. Did you actually sustain any injuries at all on the run? I'm not sure if I mentioned as well, you completed this run in 29 hours and 9 minutes. Was that right?
Yep, that's it. I think it is. I didn't have any injuries. I had some worries because 6 weeks before GSER, I ran the Henslow, which is another race organized by Mountain Sport, same race director as GSER, same company. They are a bit of the crazy guys pulling out an event as hard as they can imagine, like GSER basically, but in the Blue Mountains. So during that race, that went super well. But about Mark 35, I remember, out of the 68, I completely twist my ankle in a downhill, and basically I keep pushing onto it, finishing the race, and I had to stop 2 or 3 weeks because my ankle was just I was just injured, and on my social media accounts, you could see my ankle only 4 weeks before 4 weeks before GSER was still massive. It was swollen, and I could hardly run. So I'm lucky. I like cycling, so I've been doing quite a fair bit of cycling to prepare GSER instead of running. Not much running. So I was pretty nervous about my ankle to be able to last on GSER, but really, I think I've done the things well, and it was not hurting at any moment. So that was pretty lucky.
And how did you go at the Hounslow Classic?
The Hounslow Classic, I won it. I can't remember my time especially. I think about 9 or 10 hours. I can't remember. But I was there was a really technical race as well. Perfect preparation for GSER, I would say.
Like I've rolled my ankle a number of times. Every once in a blue moon, you're not paying attention and you'll roll it. What sort of tips or advice? How do you sort of try and reduce swelling? Over the next several days. Do you have any particular tips that you try and do to sort of help reduce inflammation?
Yeah, we're going to the right spot. I think one of my biggest advantage or tips is my partner is a chiropractor, and she's still studying chiropractic in New Zealand. That's why we're in New Zealand. And she gave me all this natural health philosophy that I'm really going towards. So I'm not at all a drug addicts. Like, I'm not taking any pills or painkillers. I think that's not really trial mentality. And I'm really keen to use all natural ingredients like essential oils. So for my ankle, I used we call it wintergreen. Sorry. With some peppermint and just trying to rub all the ankle, trying to lift the feet above the ground. And I was visiting my chiropractor based in Auckland once a week. I think he did an amazing job on my ankle, and I really think this is all thanks to his efforts and more in my partner efforts to have a look at the ankle and just make me understand that my body would heal quicker if I accept it and just go and just keep moving on other things, not only running but cycling. And to be honest, maybe 10 days or 2 weeks before GSER, I had my last big trainings, and that was super painful still. I could still not run properly, but I think that was a bit of a bet, so I didn't know if I would last, and I just keep paying attention to it, keep putting some essential oils, a good mixture, keep resting, not doing as much as I wanted training, but I was keep going to the chiropractor and make sure I was not make it worse. I was just really careful with it.
So you don't take like vitamin ibuprofen that a lot of runners and athletes take every now and then?
No, I don't take ibuprofen or painkillers or any anti-inflammatory medicines. That has been quite a major change in my life to meet Maureen, my partner, because I was this type of guy before taking. When I was earlier, when I was younger, I was a cross country runner and track field as well, and I would any time I would feel or sense just a little soreness somewhere, I would take like a pill just to make it go. But the way I understand it now is all the natural thing. So the painkillers would make you think that the pain is gone, but it's just hidden. While if you just take natural thing, it doesn't hide the pain, and you just need to learn from it and just to adapt from that. And I think you come stronger because you try to understand the reaction of your body. So I think it's really listening to your body. And make you feel more ready to understand what's going on.
Yeah, they reckon turmeric is supposed to be a good natural alternative to ibuprofen. I've never tried it, but I know it's like a common or natural anti-inflammatory, and it's quite good for inflammation and pain, and with no side effects.
Yeah, it is. It is. A lot of people would laugh about that, saying no, that's it's not true. Like nothing can replace like ibuprofen or all these things. But I think this is not true because I have experienced it, and it's not. It is true that it is maybe not as efficient, I would say, because the natural thing doesn't hide the pain. You still suffer, but it makes you aware of something else happening, and heal your body in a different way. It's more a constructive way, I believe.
So, talk us through this season. We're in November 2017 now.
Mm-hmm.
What were the main events that you did this year? And then we can maybe talk about, I guess, the training, how you approached training for these massive events. Like you did the GSER last week. You mentioned the Hounslow Classic, which was in October. What other events was on your calendar this year?
It was quite the first big year I had in ultra trail running. I'm pretty new in ultra trail running. I've been running fairly all my life, but that was the fourth season. I'm running, competing, and training hard. So for this year, I had quite a big plan. So I started in January, right after Christmas, back in France as well, where I did quite a lot of skiing, but not much running. So I went to Wanaka in New Zealand, and I ran the Ultra Easy, or the Big Easy 100K, with about 4,000 vertical meter. Strong field with Danny Garrett. He ran as well the GSER and Western Hill. So we had a strong battle. This is, to be honest, one of the most beautiful climb at the start. We're climbing Rose Peak, and this one is to expect big climbs and big downhills. I was not prepared for it, but that was hell of a good race. Super good organizer, Terry Davis, as crazy as Sean Graham, who organized the GSER. So basically, really hard race. And in that race, unfortunately, I had some knee tendinitis on the side, so I had to slow down a bit my season. I thought I could run 2 weeks later. I thought I could run the Hillary. So the Hillary is Auckland, West Coast Auckland. It's about 80K with 4,000 vertical meter. A scenic run, really beautiful along the beaches and the ocean, and through the native New Zealand bush. So instead of running the 80K, I decided to run the 34K, the shorter distance, with my partner. So 100K, 34K, 2 weeks after. Then 2 weeks after, I was unsure because of my knee. So again, a lot of focus on my knee, trying to be as accurate as my running. I was going to the chiropractor 2 times a week at that time. Somehow the pain disappeared. I had been doing a fair bit of strength as well, like leg exercise. So I think I built some a good core. So my legs were ready to handle big elevations and technical terrain. Then I ran Motatapu in South Island in New Zealand. So this one is starting from Wanaka and ending up finishing near Queenstown in Arrowtown. This one is a really scenic run as well. That's about 52 or 53 kilometers with 2,700 vertical meter. Beautiful, like going through a valley, Motatapu Valley, which you can hike in 2 or 3 days, I think, if you're a good hiker. Really beautiful. Then a week or two after, I ran Northburn 100 miler. This one is starting in Cromwell, so near Queenstown again in New Zealand. It was a bit the same format, so a 10,000 vertical meter of 160 kilometers. Basically, this is really hard, and but not only for the legs, but as well for the mindset, because you're doing 3 loops in a big farm in Northburn station. This one went well, especially that was my first ultra or 100 miler, so I was really motivated. So I think in that one I discovered myself a bit in long distance running, or more than 100k, I would say. And I really loved it, and on top of it, I won it. So I was super happy just to understand that I could, all my dreams like about running 100 milers could work, and I think all my strategy I had in place worked that day. So that was a fantastic day. Then after I took a break, about, I would say 3 weeks again. I had knee issues again, so the last end of the race, the end of the race was pretty painful, and it was the right time to finish. So I had to deal with my knees. Then I think I took a long break, did quite a bit of cycling, and then I started preparing UTA. So UTA, part of the World Tour. In Australia, in the Blue Mountains, I ran the 100k with 4,000 vertical meter, if I'm correct. So a strong field. That was the first time I would compete against the best in the world. So I didn't put much pressure on me, but I knew that would be really fast, because I would tend that I like better running in alpine sections like GSER, rather than in bush gravel road like UTA. So I was a bit scared about, am I able to run fast with these guys, or how I'm going to handle the running with the elite, the world elite. So that went great as well. I think I was too tired still from the early season, because I had already quite a fair amount of elevation and kilometers in my legs. And after UTA,
how did you go with UTA? What time did you do?
Sorry, I finished 7th, and a time of just above 10 hours. To be honest, that was really tough. I pushed my body as I never pushed it, because I don't want to say I had a bad day, but I had really bad feelings. So I was still very fatigued from the early season. I had not much speed compared to others, so I had to make my move in the steps. When the other was slowing down, I was getting faster, and the more I was going into the stairs at the end, the more I was enjoying it. I wish it could have been a bit more stairs, to be honest, but great event. I would recommend it. That's one of the major events, I think, in Australia and New Zealand. Then after that, I decided no more running, because the winter arrived. So I mainly focused all my winter doing short runs, or easy runs, I would say, in Auckland during the week. And I was going skiing nearly every weekend down Rapihu. So this is national park in the middle of the North Island in New Zealand. So basically, there are 2 or 3 volcanoes, let's say, where you can ski, and you are quite in altitude, so you can reach 2,700 meters above the sea level, even more than that, nearly 2,800 meters above the sea level. And I was spending all my weekends there just doing ski touring, enjoying. We had a really good season, so I was really pleased to go there every single weekend. It was quite tiring because about 5 hours to drive from Auckland, so every single weekend I was there. I had done, I think, over 2 or 3 months, I've done about 20 days. Yeah, I calculated that 20 days with about 20,000 vertical meter with the skis. So it's quite a fair bit. And surprisingly, I think I came stronger from that winter because I never had such a good winter before. So I really, when I started preparing Henslow, so about maybe a month before Henslow, I started running seriously, having long days out again, but not much. So I was a bit scared for Henslow because I knew that I had a lot of skiing, but not a lot of running. Again, it went well because I knew I had strong legs from skiing, and on top of that, my ankle was a bit of an issue. But I would say I was really fresh. I was ready to fight, and because I had this cut between April, I would say, to September. I did run during the week. I was maybe doing 70k, 80k a week running, but my weekends I was not running. I was skiing or cycling if the weather was not great. So I think I came stronger from cutting my season off from running, focusing on something different and something I like as well. So I think I came stronger from that. And after Henslow, so because of my ankle, it was hard to run for the first 3 weeks. So I did not do at all running for 3 weeks, but I was riding every day, cycling every day, and the weekends I was doing long hours on the bike. So yeah, long season. I'm really happy to be done now and going back on the skis for Christmas. So yeah, really can't wait for next season.
You mentioned that in terms of your training, you sort of mix in running with cycling and skiing. How important do you think it is to mix up your training by, I guess, cross training, sort of training different muscles, by either riding or skiing, or do you do gym as well? Or
yes. Yeah, definitely. I think cross training is. I came stronger from cross training. To be honest, I like running, but because I'm not living in the mountains at the moment, so I'm not sure how much I would be running if I was living in the mountains, and if I could ski every day. I think I would rather go skiing than running. So I can't say that I don't like running because it's not true, but I better like cycling or skiing, to be honest. But today running is the terrain I have around Auckland or in New Zealand is great for running. So I think that's the period I focus is on running at the moment. But basically, I do gym every day. About 20 minutes to 45 minutes, not more. I focus on legs, doing squats, and abs just for core exercise. So I do that every day. Then I go to work. I have about 10k cycling. So I ride to work every day. So 10k in the morning, 10k in the evening. So it takes me about 50 minutes per day cycling, and on top of this I go running every day about an hour to 2 hours, depending on what's my goal and my next objectives. So that's it. And the weekend, if it is winter, I go skiing. If the weather is great, I go. If the weather doesn't doesn't allow me to go in the mountain. I rather go running long runs in the wet areas in Auckland, or just I like traveling. We like traveling, so we try to experience. That's another way I like running, because you can experience the world. You can see new places. You can meet with people, and you can build relations or build a network. So that's another way why I keep running, because I can see that. And cross training is definitely for me key, because when it becomes hard while you run, because it is hard after 10 hours or 20 hours. So all this experience you have through cross training make you enjoy it. So when it's hard while running, I just remember how good it was this winter while cycling or skiing. So it makes you stronger in a way, I think.
With the strength and conditioning that you do in gym, you mentioned abs and legs. What sort of leg workouts do you sort of mainly focus on? Your quads or your glutes or your calves? Is there any sort of specific muscle groups that you focus on or work on specifically for your events?
I would say I'm not too specialized onto that matter. So I try to be general. So I try to work my legs as a whole system. So I work the leg, the quads, the glutes, the calves. I work as well proprioception, so my ankle stability.
Yep.
So basically I call it secret training, but I'm not specialized. I'm not really knowledgeable about this. So basically I found some great advice from friends and on YouTube, basically, where I can find great training. So I find it great, and I really found a benefit from doing it. After a while, I was feeling I was stronger running uphill, especially. So I think I'm not an expert, but I feel good doing it, because I saw that there's a huge benefit, especially running uphill.
With your running specific training for an ultra, particularly with the GSER or even Northburn, where the total elevation gain is over 10 kilometres. So think of Mount Everest plus another kilometre on top of that. When you're training for ultras with massive amounts of vertical gain, what does your running training look like? Do you specifically hit the trails and just try and get lots of vertical in?
Yeah, basically that's it. I consider trail running is all about vertical. So my daily training, so especially I'm doing gym in the morning, so I make my legs stronger. Then I'm cycling to work, so I move my legs, but it's still cycling, it's still on the quads, so still make your legs more powerful. It's only 10k way in and way back, so it's not at all fatigue, so it's just about power. Then when I go running the evening, I don't do 10k flat. I do maybe 10k in an hour and a half, but about 500 or 600 vertical meter. So it's most of it uphill. If I do any speed session, what I rarely do, but I try to do it still. I do everything uphill or downhill. So I try to work all the time. It's hard, but after a while you get used to it, and your body gets stronger and stronger, and at the end you enjoy it. So I wouldn't say I'm slow on the flat sections, but I really don't like it. So I focus all my training on vertical, on steep climbs.
And do you try and get in a certain amount of elevation gain per week? Do you sort of try and aim, I'm going to try and get 2Ks worth of climbing in per week, or 3Ks, or do you sort of have, you don't?
No, I don't. I probably should, and I think that's what I'm going to target for next season, is trying to put a figure on what my goal is. because I tend to train with feelings. I mean, one day I will feel strong, so I will go for 2 hours, and during these 2 hours I will try to climb as much as possible. But on another day when I feel a bit down, I would just do a casual workout. So I would go for an hour run, but still there is 500 meters into it. So at the end of the day, I'm not this guy just calculating how many Ks and elevation I've done, but I know that I run about 15 to 25 hours a week, depending on the training I'm building, and as many vertical as possible.
Now, with the Great Southern Endurance Run, tell us, you won it, course record. It's the first time it's ever been run. You beat the second place guys. There were two guys that came in second. I forgot their names, but you beat second place by, I think, over 4.5 hours. What was your game plan going into this? So, the days leading up to the start, or even sort of as you started, were you going into this? What was your mindset going into this? Were you sort of going in with a mindset of I'm going to attack early, or I'm going to make my move at a certain point? Tell us your game plan and your strategy, sort of going into the Great Southern Endurance Run.
Right, yeah, I had a plan basically on 100 miler, even though it was my second 100 miler. I didn't know too much how my body would react in such a technical terrain, so I decided to go pretty slowly. I kind of knew the other runners, so I knew Danny pretty well because I rushed against with him and against about 5 times now. So I knew he would be really fast on the first sections when it's getting technical. I knew Charlie Sharp, who DNF after a while, after 40k, but I knew he can run 100 miler flattish really fast as well. So I knew he would be really strong in the second sections. And other runners, I knew that I'm more able to run on the technical faster than others because I like the alpine terrain, and I used to train quite a lot in alpine sections before, so I knew I would be able to run fast in technical, which was the first part, the first half, I would say, and I knew people would be quicker than I on the second sections. So my strategy was to start slow to be able to see the finish line, but not too slow because I knew people would be stronger on the second part. So my strategy, starting slow, stay in a group in the lead. I knew that I would probably be in the lead, but stay in this group, see how I go. And I had to take about Mark 35, 40, and I had to take my rhythm, my pace, because I was not feeling. It's not that I was not feeling good, because I was feeling good, but I had to take my rhythm, go into my atmosphere, go into my environment, be confident I would be ready for a long day out. So I decided to make my move about at the second aid station, about Upper Hokwa. I knew that was a great climb and technical right after it. So I made my move there. I kept pushing despite the storm.
Sorry, I just want to ask.
Yep.
So at around that point, the Upper Hokwa checkpoint, which was the first checkpoint where you could have a drop bag, how many guys were with you at that point? Were you right in the lead group?
Exactly. So we were leading the race with Danny and Charlie, and we went, and I think Stefan, the guy who finished second and third ex aequo at the same time. So we took the wrong way. We went down for a couple of kilometers, and then when we realized we went the wrong way, we decided we came back, and arriving at Upper Aqua, the aid station, I realized the team who finished as well, second and third, same time, he went past us, so he was leading the race, so we were not leading it anymore. So.
And how far did you run in the wrong direction?
It's hard to say, but I would say about 5 minutes downhill, so about 15 minutes, I would say. 15 minutes extra loop. So not a lot, 10 to 15, not a lot, but enough to make you realize that maybe you were not concentrating enough, you were not focused enough on your race, because it's still a race. You're with friends, but because I used to, I know the guys with who I was running, except Charlie, but so it's still a race. So I needed, somehow I realized that no, it's a race. I need to take my pace, and so I kept pushing, trying to close the gap with Tim, who was then leading the race. So arriving at Upper Aqua, I realized I was second. Danny and Charlie were, I can't remember if they were together, but so I made already a little gap there, trying to reach the first position. And then from then I kept pushing till the end of the technical sections. Basically, that was about Mont Saint Bernard. So mark 125, so pretty far ahead in the race. I kept pushing, not pushing hard, but always controlling, but step by step, keep moving, and just enjoying.
Do you remember when you took the lead? When you passed the second place guy? What sort of point was that?
Yeah, that was a bit awkward, because that was right after Upper Aqua, so team went the wrong way as well. So the marking was a bit weird at that stage, because it was indicating left, but as well right. So I went left first, and I heard they were saying, I heard someone say, telling someone else, "Oh, we're in the wrong place." So I think that was them. Then I decided to go the other way, because there was a bit of tricky race to get the route correct, because there was little flags, but the flags were positioned. Sometimes it was a bit tricky to understand where the route was going. So I heard that they were going the wrong direction, so I went the other way. And then it appeared that it was the lead there who went the wrong way. So by the time he turned around, I took the lead. So I knew that I had taken the lead just after Upper Aqua, and I could take my width and my pace.
So pretty much after Upper Aqua, or not long after that, that's where you took the lead. And you held it.
Yeah.
Did you hold the lead from that point on?
Yep, I hold the lead. I remember some 50 miler runners, because we started all together. So I was running with one guy who was running the 50 miler or the relay. I can't remember exactly, but no, I think he was running the relay. So I ran with not him, but he was not far in front of me. All the Mount Howitt, I think that was the climb. And at that time we had the huge thunderstorm above our heads. So I really decided to keep moving in. I did not stop. Maybe I should, because it was really close to me, but I keep pushing. And on all this alpine section to Mount Speculation, I just keep pushing, making sure I was making a gap there, and then I could control later on. Keep fueling my body, just make sure the basics were there. Not pushing too hard as well, because it was really early in the race, so it was about 50 kilometers, and from that section to 125 kilometers, that was limited aid station and really technical, and the night to spend. So I knew that it would be tough, but I was really ready for it. I had a great plan to make sure I would go till the mark 125, go out of this technical path, and with still some energy to make sure on the not so much technical section I could still push through if anybody would be for the battle, ready for the battle.
When you mention you've taken the lead and you start to push, do you try and make these surges on when you're climbing or descending or on the relatively flats? Do you sort of have a strategy in that regard to try and increase your lead? When you sort of put the foot on the accelerator a little bit, do you try and do that when you're climbing, descending, or when it's sort of not kind of flattish?
So I think there's a real strategy there. So I don't think you can win. I think you can lose a race if you can't climb. So you would lose a race if you are not able to climb properly. But you can win a race by going fast downhill. I really think. So you can lose a race going down uphill, but you can win a race by going fast downhill. So my strategy is always moving right downhill. Okay, it's hurting at some point, so you need to be careful and be prepared to go fast downhill. But after some training and some years of learning, you can still cruise fast downhill and just control the uphill and going average, I would say, on the flat. On the flat, this is more the sections where I would take the time to refuel and admire the paysage, the landscape. Sorry. Just to have the views, but I would go strong uphill still. Look at the views on the flat sections and just enjoy cruising around. And I would not smash, but I would go fast on a good cruise downhill. So I think that's where you can make big gaps.
When you're climbing, do you walk the ups or do you try and hike them, or are you in more of the next level up in terms of just sort of, depending on how steep it is, moving into like a trot, just sort of trotting up the hills?
Yeah, it really depends on the stage of the race as well. At the start, I would say I would climb everything, not when it's really steep or scary steep. But I would trot. Yeah, I would move quickly, just moving little step, just climbing slow, but still moving the legs fast. So maybe the 10, 15, 20 kilometers, I would move fast. Then when I take my pace, I would still walk. I would walk, like, for example, right after the first aid, or the second, or the upper aqua, so the first big aid station. I decided that I would walk the uphill or hike quite powerfully the climb. I was, even though I was making my move, I knew that it was early, so I would rather hike all the uphill from that stage. And at the end, if a battle or someone would go for the win, and I would need to go hard, I would start running all the uphill again. So it's always about controlling, having enough energy to be able to trot or to run slowly the uphill. But maybe hiking is the right way, because you always save some energy for the future. You never know what could happen.
And what advice do you have for listeners who want to improve their uphill running? Where like in terms of physical strength, what is that? Sort of going back to maybe strength and conditioning, is that coupled with just getting out there and running hills? What if you could sort of give some tips for people who want to improve their climbing? What sort of tips would you have so people can improve this, to get stronger, to be able to not walk the hills but run the hills?
Yeah, to run the hills, you need to have strong legs. Basically, I would recommend to strengthen the legs. So this come through some legs exercise. So I would recommend people to look at some circuit trainings on legs. So basically, this is squats, some weights exercise with kettlebell. I like as well to do my sessions during the weekends, my long sessions with a heavy bag. So I would, I'm not saying heavy bag, like maybe 4 or 5 kg. So it's quite similar to the weight the bag weight we had during the GSER. So basically, putting some weight just make you work better, I would say. Add some weight is always good for the legs. So basically, that's what I'm doing. As well, do as much as climb as possible. So it's hard because if a lot of people are coming from road running at the start when they run try running races or tracks, so they still focus on kilometers. So if you use a good average runner would run in an hour or 50 minutes. A 10K on the road, if they go on the track and with elevation, 10K could be like nearly 2.5 or 3 hours. So in that way, they can get, maybe I need to go back on roads and to get the feelings of doing great because of the time they're doing. But I think tri running is completely different. Tri running is all about going out in the nature, and it's tough because it's not flat. And this, to get strong on the uphill, you need to work uphills, and you need to do as much as elevation as possible. And I think to not be desperate as the first uphill, because that would be hard. The gym is a good exercise. Gym is a good way to get stronger and fit to hit the uphills. I really think.
Do you remember where you were on the course roughly in terms of distance when the sun started to go down and you started to enter into the night section? Do you remember how far in you were?
Yep. So when the sun went down, I was right about Buffalo East 8 station. So basically there was, I can't remember the mileage, but I would say that was about 70, 60. I can't remember, but that was... I
think East Buffalo Road was about a bit under 100 Ks in.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
So yeah, when I arrived there, I was that was pretty surprising because they were not expecting me. So I had no hot water, no food, or I had barely a chair to sit and just grab my drop bag. So yeah, it was. I think I just turned on my light, my head torch, just before East Buffalo 8 station.
As you've been running all day, and the sun's slowly making its way down. It's going to set. How do you switch into night mode in terms of shifting from the day section, and now you've got the night section ahead of you? Do you is there anything that you do mentally, or with your gear? What do you do specifically to shift from day mode and then now I've got the night section ahead? Is there anything in particular you do to transition into the next night section?
Yeah, it is true. It's completely change of mindset. So I wish I would recommend anytime if you can run with someone at night, it's always better because this is a way to discuss and chat and just leave something with someone. In that race, GSER, I was alone, so I just made sure. So I knew that it would be long, so alone during the night. And it was getting quite fresh. It was not cold, but it was fresh. So I just put my arm sleeves on, or just a jacket or a thermal. I put a buff, so I make sure my body doesn't get cold. So I got a good control of my body temperature. I keep fueling, keep hydrating my body, because at night you might think you don't need water, but still you're running, so you don't want water, but it's still important to fuel your body. It works with me. I better like salty food at night. It makes me awake more. I tend to stop the sugary gels or bars or all these sweets, the sweetie flavors. I try to stop that, because after a while, after a day, I just don't want any more sugar. So I just try to focus on salt. I had like guarana as well, tablets, so sort of vitamins, not caffeine.
Was that guarana tablets?
Yes,
Okay.
that was guarana tablets.
I might have had them. I'm not really, can't recall, but you don't take like no-dose or sort of caffeine tablets?
I had caffeine, I think, in my gels. I had some gels still, some salty gels. I had 20 milligram of caffeine. So I like coffee, but I don't think too much. I try to have a bit, but not too much. Then through night, it's just about keep controlling and make sure you don't go too deep. So you just control the night and make sure you still focus, you don't fall asleep. If you need to sleep, you better like to stop and have a 20-minute nap or something. I never experienced that, so I can't give any advice on that. But the night mode is really special. I think I would like to spend it with someone most of the time, because you can discuss and make the time go fast. I mean, does it answer?
Were there any points on the night section where you stopped and turned around and looked behind you? Could you see any headlamps in the distance coming, or was it just completely black?
That was completely black. I had quite a lot of difficulties finding my way through the bush or through the forest. The marking, because of the storm, I think the marking went down on the floor mainly, so it was really hard to find my route. So at some point, when I headed to, I think that was right before the Twins, so the major technical sections above the tree line. So I could see behind. I could see I knew they were not too fast, because I started moving, not slow, but I was digging in the pain cave more or less at that time. I knew that I could see some head torches, but I was not sure. I was in a bit that was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was not too sure. So I think I realized just before I'm going down to Mount Saint Bernard, so about 125k, when I reached, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I had no idea where the other were. But my partner, when I reached the station, she told me, they're about 7.5 to 10 kilometers back. So I think I saw them, but I was not trying to look or stare, but I was trying to find a way to communicate with someone. And at some point, it was a bit long out there alone, but I think that's a bit weird feeling, running alone in the mountain at night. So I wish I could have someone.
So when you found out that second place, or the next group of people were 7 to 10 k's behind you, that's maybe distance, but in terms of time, it would have been a couple of hours at least. Mm-hmm. Did that sort of give you any comfort at all, knowing that you had that amount of buffer in front of them? Or did you sort of consider, I'm going to take the foot off the accelerator now? Or did you just try and ignore that thought, I've got a couple hour buffer? Did you and sort of maintain your focus? Was there any sort of thoughts like that?
Yeah, it was a hard time for me, because I knew I had enough advanced time to relax, but through the ultra running, you always learn. At Northburn earlier the year in March, I had about, I think, 40 minutes advance. So I was leading the race by 40 minutes, and I went the wrong way for about half an hour before I realized I was sent the wrong way. So I had to climb back. That was a whole scenario. So basically, I I was then at that point, at that stage of the race, I was then third with half an hour time to cover. So basically, I knew that 10K was quite a bit, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I was feeling really tired. I knew I was alone. I knew there were two runners together. They could push hard. I didn't know them at all. So I didn't know if they would be strong finishing an ultra or they would just finish. I didn't know. I knew that I had to keep pushing because I would have expected them to battle to the end. So I didn't want to relax. I was leading. It's pretty scary leading a race because you know that you have some time ahead. But yeah, I was feeling pretty down at that time. So firstly, my first reaction was, I take the next sections really easy. But when I was onto it, I was like, maybe they won't take it easy, so why should I take it easy? I just keep pushing, keep pushing, and maybe the next section I went, that was downhill. So as I said, I like the downhill, so I still was moving pretty well, but I think I went too fast, too strong in that downhill. That was about 1,400 meters downhill, so basically quite a long one at that stage of the race. And the next about 30K before the finish line, I had no energy anymore. I think I went too fast on that one. And but what made me feel confident, because at that mark, then about 150K, I had now 20 kilometers advance. So I knew even if I had 34K left, they had still 55 and I had like 25. I had 20 kilometers advance from them. So at that stage, the last aid station, I was like, okay, maybe I can consider the win because I have 20 an advance of 20 kilometers. But it was more, that's funny, but because you think about winning, it's still a race, but it's more an adventure. So sometimes I tend to think that I would have liked to share that with someone else. When I saw the second and third finishing together, I said, "Wow, what an effort! They might have battled together till the finish line, but at least they got like something to share with someone." While when I was alone out there, I enjoyed quite a lot, but I like ultra trail running because it gets you meet with people, like fantastic people. And during that race, I was with my own, just pushing to my limits. But yeah, it's a weird feeling because ultra trail, I'm looking for sharing experiences with people, why I didn't have during that race. That was a bit special for me.
Did any of the sleep monsters come out at 2 a.m.? Or did you hallucinate at all? Was there any sort of real moments that you, like around, a couple of hours before sunrise, that was there anything there at all?
No, I wouldn't say I have hallucinated. I was pretty tired. I had some really sore feet. So this pain that just made me awake for a couple of hours, to be honest. So no, I didn't have any bad time hallucinating or just huge tiredness. I was all right. I struggled quite a lot finding my way, sometimes the direction of the race. So just like keep looking for the direction made me made me keep reflecting about, am I on the right track? I was wondering quite a lot, so I think this kept me quite awake for a bit of time.
You mentioned you sort of, lost your way a little bit. Did you ever get fully lost? As in, for half an hour type thing or more, or? G'day guys, Matt here. This podcast is a labour of love, and all episodes are researched, scheduled, edited, created and promoted in my spare time. Typically, after an episode has been recorded, it can take another 3 hours of post-production activities to get the final cut. If I'm providing you with value and you wish to support my vision of sharing these inspirational stories to the world, you can do so at borntokickarse.com and click on the Patreon banner. Your support will help to maintain the monthly podcast running costs and enable me to outsource repetitive tasks so I can bring you even more kick-ass episodes. Once again, if you want to support me in producing this podcast, head over to borntokickarse.com and click on the Patreon banner. You can't miss it. And now back to the rest of the show. You mentioned you sort of, lost your way a little bit. Did you ever get fully lost? As in, for half an hour type thing or more, or?
Not half an hour, but about 20 minutes, I would say, about the Vikings. So the Vikings is quite a crucial mark in the race. I think that's about 80k maybe. And it's the start of a really technical section. I think I went a bit too fast too strong during that uphill, because I reached the summit and I lost the track somehow, and I kept going straight, even though it was not any track, but it was like it used to be before, so not much track. So, but after a while, after maybe 10 minutes, I realized, or 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, I realized that was not. I could not see any flags anymore. So I went back, and on GSER, the compulsory map, we had to carry phones with compulsory maps, Avenza maps onto it. So basically I took out my phone, I looked at where I was on the map, I realized I was the wrong way, so I ran with the phone, but the reception was not great, so I thought I was going the right direction, but I went to the wrong one. So it took me a while to find out where I had to go, where I was on the map with the GPS not working perfect. I heard someone talking, or I hope it was not an hallucination, but I heard a sound straight in front of me, maybe a couple of meters in front of me, and I moved that direction and I saw a flag. I was like, "Ooh, I'm on the right track again." So it was a bit of a funny race for this, because the tracks were pretty well marked, but the storm just took them out down. Most of them are quite a lot of marked down, and during the night it was. You have experienced that maybe, but the tracks were we were going straight into the bush. Sometimes I had to scramble, arms on the floor, just scramble on the ground, just make them move really close to the ground. You could not stand up. You were in the forest trying to move through the forest, through the bush, but that was the proper marking. And when you could heads up, stand up and see where the next marking, where you were just in a full tree, like no tracks, full forest. So that was a bit weird race. I liked it because I was prepared for that, but it was not like a proper race like you can experience in not saying proper race, but a proper tracking, like you can see at UTMB or where all the tracks are marked properly. It looks like a track. Here it was not looking sometimes like a track. It was like straight in the steepness of the hill and the mountain. So that was really alpine. That's what we call alpine running. So really liked it.
Now, do you remember where you were roughly when the sun started to come up the next day?
So the sun came out when I was about Harriettville. So Harriettville is about 34 kilometers from the finish line. So I realized there was about 5:36, I would say. I switched off my light about 6, I think. And I was at the aid station. I was refueling my body with proper food. And then, I think that was a great time to see the light coming because the body was really tired.
Do you sort of find that on the second morning, the sun rises for the second time? Some of the runners actually ran through 3 sunrises, but for you, when the sun comes up the next morning, do you find that reinvigorates your body and your mind?
I think it is really helping the mind to. That's a new day, so a new day, a new adventure. It's hard when I spend only 1 day, 1 night out. I think it's way easier than spending 2 days and 2 nights out. I just really, I think these people that have finished after 2 days, 2 nights, it's really inspiring. Like the effort they put, the mindset they might have been through. Wow, this is I'm just impressed about these people because only after 1 day, 1 night, I just it's really hard to explain, but it's a tough moment you have, even though after the first night, when the sun goes out, so you kind of regenerated, so kind of feel new. But after 2 nights, I don't know if that has any importance. I don't know that. I never experienced that. I'm so amazed by all these people. Just keep pushing to finish and accomplish their adventure. It's so impressive. Yeah.
So did you have a crew at all, or did you do it like just by yourself?
Yeah, good point. This is I think this is key. I had a crew somewhere, and my partner came from New Zealand as well. This race, it was a bit special because there was not many aid stations where she could come through. So basically Upper Aqua about Mark 45, then no crew at aid station before Mark 125. So basically we had about 80k without crew. The way I like crewing is like you arrive at the aid station. Mine is doing it perfectly. She's really efficient now, so I have proper food. So when I say proper food, I don't have bars or gels, not at all. I have soup. Maybe soup could be great, but I eat kumara, avocado, quinoa. So something not tangible because gels is, but something consistent. So basically, when I eat these, I know that it will last for a couple of hours. So while the gels and things like that, it's not. I'm not a fan, to be honest, but I think it works well. But I'm not a fan. If I could go with only proper food, I would go. Then I can grab some sandwiches. I have a belt where or in the bag, I can put some sandwiches. So basically, this is working well to keep proper food. So we can think that gels how do they call it? The nutritive drinks,
like Tailwind and
like Tailwind.
Electrolyte.
I never experienced these drinks, but I drink mainly water. But I think the lobbies, or not the lobbies, but the brands or the companies, the manufacturer make us believe that you can last like heaps of hours outside with only Tailwind, but it doesn't work with me. I need proper food. So This is one of my tips. I think if you like sushi, just take sushi. If you like sandwiches with ham and I don't know, you can even put honey. The beauty of it is like you can fine tune, you can make it yourself. So with what you like. So I like this. Then Maureen was as well, having her on the rice. It's always great because she's my partner, so we're sharing these. So it makes you happy as well. I had my parents in France as well, or any type of friends or people you like to spend time with. It's great because it make you feel strong, even if you're destroyed inside. You don't want to move anymore. Just having these people around that made the effort to come and cheer you up, it just makes you stronger. You don't want to, you want them to think that you're strong, so you make this extra effort to show that you can still do it. So you in a way you keep pushing. So I think crowing is really, really important. And then as well, so I changed my shoes about 125 because I have wet feet. After the thunderstorms, all the rain, I had wet feet. I needed to change my socks and shoes. But yeah, I think crewing is essential in ultra running because it's just a way to cheer you up. All the volunteers are doing a great job, but it's not people you know, especially. So even if they have good words and they can motivate you, it's not the same impact.
When you're in training, do you actually practice transitioning with your crew? Like you're at home, and on the weekend you're training. Do you ever practice the practices are you're coming into a checkpoint? Your crew need to do what they need to do, and then you get out. Do you sort of practice the actual transition at checkpoints? Like when you're in training, do you ever practice that bit?
The line starts to be a bit. The connection starts playing a bit.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you very well, but I can still hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's like you're talking underwater. This is a bit weird. I don't know if you can you hear me properly?
Yeah. I can hear you. I'll just repeat it. But in training, do you practice running into a checkpoint, doing the transition, and then getting out? Do you practice that with your crew at all?
No, we don't practice. Maybe we should sometimes. That would avoid some argument. But no, I take on a short races. It's hard because time is just about places or it's about performance. So when you are reaching an aid station, you can feel you're losing time. So on the short races, it is quite interesting. I think this is something that would need to be worked out with the crew during training, like in normal days. But on ultra running, I think I take it like more an adventure, something I would enjoy and live fully. So I just take it easy. Don't want to argue or I want everyone to be happy around. It makes me feel stronger and then happy. Good mind. You can push further, and it's a good environment. So I don't practice that, but maybe that would something. Yeah, that would be something to get some time off again.
So what does it look like for you when you rock up to a checkpoint, regardless of sort of where the checkpoint is, but sort of just generally speaking, when you arrive at a checkpoint, do you change your socks, change your shirt? Or do you just stay in your existing gear? What does it sort of typically look like for you when you rock up at a checkpoint?
So when I reach a checkpoint, I would. It basically depends on the advancement of the race. Depend at the timing as well. But if it is during the day, and if I have wet feet, maybe I would change my socks because to avoid any blisters. Or just nails, like just pains. So I would change my socks. I would change my shirt if it is wet. If this is early in the day, I would maybe grab a cap, so just to get a protection from the sun. I could grab any poles, so sticks, if I would tend to need any. I think the sticks. This is maybe another topic, but I think I rather, if I know that I'm using sticks, I rather take it from the start, because so that I would not fare with anyone just taking it at the aid station and put it back somewhere else. That's too much of a help, in my opinion, to just not carry it from the start. But if I did not carry it from the start, that's maybe an occasion to take it and just change its strategy. But I'm not sure you can actually on the races. You just need to check the gear check, or the compulsory rules of the race. But basically, I change my socks, t-shirt, grab a cap if I need. If it is during the night, I would definitely change my socks and the t-shirt, because it makes you feel fresh. It's a new day. During the night, I could have as well brush my teeth. It could be weird, but it makes you awake in some ways. Same, I would do everything that makes you feel a bit fresh, like. Maybe on a long day, if I had a long day out, it's really warm. Maybe if I could take a shower, I would maybe take a shower. What do I do? And I take the time to refuel my body with proper food. Like I said, I think like a neutral dish like kumara, quinoa, avocado is just perfect, because it gives you all the nutrients you need to last in the race, and there is no strong flavors, so it's easy to digest. And make sure you don't try new things during the races, because you don't know how your body could turn up. So many people do mistakes by trying new things. I think the aid station is just a time to enjoy with the people around, and take the energy to last longer.
And what's it like when you enter an aid station and you're the first one there, and you've got first selection at the buffet? You know how all the food and drinks are all out, and you rock up first. What's that like? Because like often when I get there, there's like, you know, hardly any water. There's a couple of sort of half-eaten banana skins that you're trying to eat, and there's sort of nothing there. But what's it like for you when you're there and you got the first choice of whatever you want? What's that like?
Yeah, first choice. It's always, I always go where with what I like first and what I want. So if I'm lucky enough, there's anything I like, so I just take the time, discuss. I like discussing with the volunteers. They're really happy most of the time, so they give you good energy. They really they're kind of impressed by performances, and so all these eyes looking at you and just makes you feel really really powerful at the time. In terms of food, I would drink normal drinks. I don't, as I said, I don't experiment things that I'm not used to. See, if I'm not used to Coke, for example, I don't drink Coke, or if I'm not used to Tailwind, I don't use Tailwind. I just minimize all the risks. I'm not too sure about. I tend to not digest the oranges and the banana. So if there is chocolate, for example, or I said that earlier that on races I'm quite keen. I'm quite strict on diet. So if there is gluten-free, anything gluten-free, I would take that. It looks like in that race, to be honest, I was a bit disappointed because in GSER, because I arrived at any aid station in advance compared to the schedule, so nothing was really much prepared. So basically, all the aid stations there were no hot water. I was expecting taking some noodles or hot soup just during the night because it was a bit cold. But there was not any available at that time because they were not expecting me already.
You turned up too quick.
That was a bit weird. So that was filling me down a bit because I was as well. I had the plan to take the time at the aid stations, taking a hot drink. But at that stage, I had nothing to warm me up, so I just grabbed my things in drop bags and left. So that was, in a way, that was not too bad. But I think that's pretty dangerous. I mean, one of the learning from the race directors is like always try to anticipate, even for the leaders, because if I had like no proper nutrition in my drop bags, maybe it could have been dangerous or putting a risk there. So just it's then when I started in France, the trail running is something different. This is way more popular, so a lot more people, a lot more races happening. You can basically race every single weekend, and the buffets are amazing. Believe me or not, but you have cheese, you have saucisson, so it's like a dry, typical French ham, sort of. You have everything.
It
is just crazy. It is absolutely beautiful. So again, don't try, even if there's cheese and you really want to try it there. If you, for a long day outside, you can probably keep it for the finish line. So maybe they will have some at the finish line, but don't experience something new always, but try to keep your habits.
So just on nutrition, what does your nutrition look like during the run? Sort of, so you're running along during the day. Sort of, what sort of fuel do you have on you? And also, how do you also monitor your calorie intake? Do you try and get in 200 or 300 calories per hour? So yeah. So what sort of fuel have you got on you to fuel yourself?
So basically, I base my strategies, but my nutrition plan is based on what's the concrete, the real food I can have. So this special aid station meal I have with kumara, avocado, or quinoa, I'm a central point. So based on that, then I can add some gels. So I have a plan every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on the shape I am. I eat a gel and I eat a little bar, like gluten-free bar. Or if I don't have gluten-free, I just don't take gluten-free. I'm not intolerant, but I tend to feel that I digest better without gluten. But anyway,
just with the gluten-free bars, are they ones that you make or buy?
Yeah. No, because I was traveling from New Zealand, I bought them. But in New Zealand, I try to make my own bowls. It's not bars because it's easier to carry bowls. But we experienced that, and both my partner and I, we really liked it. And again, that's homemade, so it's lots of memories or souvenirs, or makes you feel happy to eat it. So there's a special feeling about eating your own food you prepared. So it's always like a little celebration every time especially if it is good. So it makes you feel stronger all the time. So it makes you every 20 minutes you eat something. It makes it a bit special. So everything is about thinking positively, and so every time I'm trying, it could. Yeah, I remember a friend at Northburn. He was helping crewing, and he did not realize that I would eat that much. So at the end of the races, he said like, "Oh, maybe I should run and try because in fact this is eating and eating."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, maybe for me it works." Yeah. Maybe I'm heavier at the finish line than at the start for sure. But basically, I try to eat and drink jazz bars every 20 minutes. so I keep even if I don't want, I force myself, because I know that maybe I might feel good now and don't want it, but maybe in an hour or 2 hours I will feel down and bad, and maybe that food that I took will have me going through that hard time. So I think that's a great learning from all my friends running ultras, and even mine's mom. So my mother-in-law has run many ultras already, and so I have family around and friends who are expert in long distance running, and all these tips. I don't know that by myself, but I learn from them. I listen a lot from them, and I think it works for me too. So I think I would recommend to keep fueling the body. Just take it easy. I think that's a major advantage, and the body is stronger.
Do you have like an alarm every 20 minutes to remind you to eat?
No, I don't have an alarm, but I'm training. I'm training every single weekend. I'm doing a long run. I'm experiencing that. I'm training on my nutrition, so I have like an internal clock. I know when I have to eat and when. So that's. But I would recommend, yes, at first, to keep thinking about it. Just set an alarm on your watch, and that's easier. So you can keep thinking about it.
Did you experience nausea at all through your nutrition?
Nausea? Not GSER was a bit. Yeah, I had a bad time about 6 a.m, so I could not eat properly. So I decided to take like watermelon. I like taking watermelon because it's a lot of water, and it's kind of natural as well, so it doesn't. The taste is not too strong. It was hard for me to digest at that time. About 6 a.m, maybe 5 hours before the finish line. About 25 hours, it was or 24. It was a hard time. So basically, trying to take something that, even if nausea, that was not really nausea because I was not vomiting, but I had some difficulties to eat, and I had some. I wanted to reject, but no, it didn't happen. So I took it easy again, trying to. If your body doesn't want to take it, so it's simply that this is over. So there is too much. So just something went wrong before, and when you start having nausea and vomiting, so you're dehydrating. So somehow this is a wrong sign. So I never experienced that, but I don't know how it would react. But maybe stop for a time and see how the body reacts, and keep going just to reach the finish line.
And you said you pretty much just drink water. You don't have electrolytes.
I don't have electrolytes, but I have a drink. I can't remember the brand, but it's sort of electrolyte, but it's made out of natural fruits.
All right.
It's called NZ Pure in New Zealand, but I don't really like the taste of electrolyte. If maybe one day they do a fantastic taste and that I like much, maybe I will start using that. But I don't like the synthetic taste. I like natural things, and so I'm not used. Yeah, when I go training, I simply always take normal water. Maybe if you like to change, maybe another tip. If you like to have taste in your water, maybe you can add a drop of peppermint into it. Not much, because peppermint is quite strong, and so I would. That's one of the tips I like. If after a while water doesn't go through anymore, you can add one drop, not more, of peppermint essential oil, and it gives you this fresh fragrance, and it's way easier to drink.
And do you take any other supplements during the run, like salt tabs at all, or any other supplements sort of in your drop bags?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's important as well to assimilate, to for your body to understand, to build on all this water you take in. you need to add some minerals and salt tablets. I think is essential because it gives your body the ability to digest the water or to use that water properly and not just go to waste. So tabs, guarana as well, guarana.
All right, yeah.
If I had caffeine, maybe I would have taken at some point when I felt a bit down. I think caffeine is need to be careful with that because it's caffeine, so it's strong. So some people, I heard people taking ibuprofen or anti sort. No, it's not the proper word, but just to hide the pain. And I think it's terrible for the body, for the kidneys, because just keep pushing while your body is showing you that something is going not wrong, but something need consideration. I think need to be really careful with all these tabs because we don't really know what's behind. This is still made in mass, so we don't. So really read the prescriptions and read the second effects on all the tablets people would like to take. But that's my recommendation because I'm really natural focused. But I think it works to me. But it just makes me a bit nervous or anxious about people taking all these tablets because it's good to take it because it hides the pain or it helps your performance. But at some point, what do you want to achieve and what shape do you want to be in 5 or 10 or 15 years? So just be really cautious with that, I think, in my opinion.
Now, on the actual course, was there a point where you remember being at your lowest? Either, I don't know if you hit the wall or not, or was there a particular point where you were at your, not just the physical pain, but I'm talking more the mental suffering and the misery? Was there a real point that you were utterly suffering that you really remember?
Yeah, exactly. During the last 30K, basically it was a 1,000-meter climb over maybe 10Ks, I think. And then it was rolling over, so up and down, up and down, up and down forever till reaching the finish line. So basically I thought starting the climb, so before hitting the last 30K, basically, I had a look at the map, and I thought it was one big climb, one big downhill, but basically it was not. So that was this rolling undulation I was talking about. And when I reached the summit, quite painfully, somehow I took it really slow because I knew that I had so much comfort because I had 20K advance, but somehow at the top I hit the wall really much. I never experienced such a suffer in my life. So I started being a bit anxious. I was like, oh, will I make it on time? Will they catch me? Because I knew they were battling. So all my strategy of relaxing, because I knew that I had such a good advance, I was wondering about it again. So at some point, about maybe 20K to go, I was anxious, and I started reconsidering again my ability to cross this finish line first. So it was really hard. So I kept pushing, kept building on my strengths. So I knew that I could make it, just being positive. Keep fueling, even though I didn't have any water left. So I had some strategy I was lucky because it started raining at some point. So I realized that the water was falling down the trees, the trunk of the trees. So I could stop and put my bottle against and bottle up again my bottle with fresh water from the sky.
Yeah,
so I was really lucky at that stage because I had no water. I was deeply suffering, and I had this rain, so it helped me to push further. it's hard when you're in pain. So that's why really ultra running, it's not something to do alone. I think it's way better to enjoy with someone, in my opinion. So I think, when alone in that misery, that was my misery, but it turned out that I had a great time doing that section as well. So it's different scales, but when it's hard to me, I need to think positively, think about time with friends, family. If I don't know, any dream you want to achieve, building on positive always. It's hard when you're feeling bad, because all this dark thinking is wanting to come to your mind, or is obsessing your mind. So it's just thinking positively, just to make this dark thinking go away. And this last 30K were terrible, because every single undulation, like, I thought it was going down all the way, but it was going up again and down and up again. So it was never ending for me. But and I was lucky it was in the right timing, because I just, to be honest, I'm happy with my result, but I'm so impressed about all the other runners, because they spent at least 4 hours on top of me. So when you think about it, 4 hours on a 30-hour scale, it's not much. But if you think tomorrow you're going to do a 4 hours run, it's quite a decent amount of time. So I'm so amazed about all these people who spend at least 4 hours on top of me on the tracks, and some of them nearly double. So I'm so impressed about their day out and their performance, because it just, in my opinion, it's just minor my performance. Or it's really unbelievable how these people could go through, because I gave everything I could. I was like, I could not push further, like 10 kilometers more. I was going to walk there.
Yeah.
I was just over at that time.
And where did you find the strength from to continue, knowing that you were completely spent? You know, you're on gas fumes, and there's not too much left towards the finish line. It's coming. The finish line is just there, and you're completely spent. Or even on the actual course, you know, when you're completely spent, where do you find, where do you draw that strength from, that other strength, not the physical strength, the strength that can enable you to overcome doubt and fear and all that? Where do you sort of draw that from?
Yeah, I think it comes from all the training you have done and all the hours you spend outside. So just remember staying positive. Remember all the time you spent, hopefully with people, remembering training with others, or even if it is alone, just remembering all this time. At the end, this is something we need to enjoy and like, because this is our passion. So I think even if you just you just wasted. It's probably not the right word, but you just have no energy anymore. I just keep thinking about positive. How am I going to celebrate that after trying to build up from the suffering, trying to think, to remember all these good things that made this race possible to take part. So take it slow, step by step, putting maybe a little goal. So it's 20K to go, just thinking like maybe every K or every 5K, you're trying to set a target, close a shorter target. And after this 5K achieves, if the 5K target until 20, just postpone that to the next one, and then just reduce the scale and make it easier for the mind to reach it. Because at the end, this is all about mindset and how you can manage your thinking through it, because your body is anyway fatigued and can't move further. But your mind, all this positive thinking and how you scale it up, can help a lot.
what was it like when you were pretty much, it was imminent that you were going to finish. You were pretty much almost at Bright. You're almost at the finish line. What was that feeling like? What were you going through? What emotions were you experiencing as you were approaching the finish line and, you actually saw the finish? What were you sort of going through at that point?
It is a great feeling. This time, GSER, I did not have much emotions because I was more like anxious about finishing without water. I didn't have hallucination, but I was really thirsty. Like I really need water and fluids because the last 20K or 15, 20, I can't remember exactly, I had no water left. So I was pretty scary. So this anxious mode made me a bit nervous. So when I saw the finish line, I said, wow, revealed, that's done. The pain is over now. So just enjoy for the last K or two. But that was a brilliant. That was tough. So that was even too tough that I did not enjoy as much as I enjoyed Northburn finish line, for example, because Northburn finish line had quite a bit of emotions because it was through the night. I had a perfect day out, so no downtime. So I was still full of energy. I would say it was about 21 hours, so 8 hours less. So it's quite a big difference in terms of effort. So I had a bit of emotions here. I think you see family, friends, partner around the finish line. It's all about all the time you spend, which are hard time spent or efforts, training. So all this time, all these efforts, I just made it, good for life or great for life. Just it's an awesome time to reach that time, and it's like all the emotions are coming. Yeah, it's.
And you got the gold belt buckle. What are you going to attach that to a belt or have that mounted, or what have you done with that, or what are you going to do with it?
That's. I got the gold buckle. It's next to my bed at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it, just laughing at it because I'm not used to it first, because I'm new to traveling. It's like something new, so it's my new toy. It's funny. So yeah, basically I'm going to buy because I don't have a belt like I can hang on yet. So I'm going to buy a belt and have all the buckle I have from this year especially, and maybe have it around with the trophies and just I think it's a really good memory, like really good souvenir.
So do you reckon, have you got like another, have you even thought about coming back to defend your title? I believe next year, or just to give listeners some context, the Great Southern Endurance Run is this year. That's the first year. It's from Mount Buller to Bright, but it's essentially downhill. And it's they say it's the toughest 100-miler in the Southern Hemisphere and one of the top 5 most difficult in the world. Next year, I believe they might be doing it in reverse from Bright to Mount Buller, so essentially uphill. Is that something that you've considered, or have you sort of contemplated that, or not yet? You just don't want to think about it at this stage?
Definitely. I don't want to think about it at this stage, but definitely this is really interesting. Like doing one way and reverse is another challenge. I think it's knowing that this way, so more downhill, like about 11,000 vertical meter downhill is crashing, is like it's making a carnage in your body, so it's really smashing your body, all the downhills, all the impacts, while the uphill, it's more pushing, so it doesn't hurt as much your body, but you can cook yourself, but it's not as bad. The impact are not as bad, so I expect the reverse way, so more climb, to be slower, but not to be especially harder because of the climb. So the body would be able to it would be less pain, I would say, but it would still be hard, really hard finishing by this long climb. But I think I would see more people crossing the finish line, I think, if they start slowly on these runnable first sections. But definitely, I would be keen to do it. I'm not here in New Zealand for forever, so I try to think of different races. So I haven't planned GSER reverse way next year to do because of other races I'm keen to do as well. But this is definitely a type of challenge I would maybe come back one day in Australia to do. Yeah, it's a beautiful race, to be honest. I didn't know much about Australia. I knew the Blue Mountains in Sydney, but that was it. So the Victoria Alps, awesome discovery. I would have never thought or expected such an alpine terrain. It remembers not the landscape, but the terrain. Made me remember like the Alps in France. All these single tracks and all this nature, like is taking over the human. Like the tracks are being covered by bush and trees. So it's just like really, really technical, and I think it suits me. It suits me well. I like this type of terrain, so it's definitely somewhere I would like to come back for sure.
Did you see any snakes at all on the run?
No, luckily, no, I did not see. I've seen a deer. So it's not a deer, but it's like I'm not too sure. I need to have a look, but it's bigger and with a furry bottom. So I saw these. I've seen some deer as well, some rabbits, some pheasants, some birds, some awesome birds. I love the birds in Australia. It's crazy how loud are they?
Yeah,
but,
they are.
But luckily I did not see snakes. I saw snakes at the Hounslow. It's given me a fright. I'm not used to it at all. And I've seen a lizard as well, like a little crocodile.
Yeah.
That was scary. I nearly fell. But it's no. I think from what I saw, I think and the speed we're running ultras like not fast. I think the snakes had the time to leave before we arrived. But I heard someone saw a couple of snakes, though, but maybe during the day when it was really hot. I've seen kangaroos as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few out there. Now, what do you have any advice for other, like, you're an elite athlete, you won this event, the GSER, and also Northburn. Do you have any advice for listeners who, maybe other ultra runners that want to just move up to the next rung in the ladder in terms of their ability and what they can achieve in ultra marathons or even people doing sort of marathons? Is there any sort of high level tips you could give people for them to improve their times, or to move from the current level they're on to one or two rungs up in the ladder?
Yeah, definitely. I think this is all about commitment. I have an easy life. I mean, I'm working. I didn't mention that, but I'm working as an operations manager. So I'm an engineer. I have quite a bit of pressure from work, starting from 8 to 5. So it's about 11 hours a day of work. So it's quite a big day out. But I try to be consistent in my training. So trying to go as much as I can. I don't have kids, so it makes it easier for me as well. But if you have kids and family life, it makes it harder, but it makes it possible. I have friends running ultras and are elite as well and can still train, but it's just a time management and the commitment or how much time you want to spend. Just just set easy targets, not something not achievable, because what is important, in my opinion, is to last. So if you start training for an ultra and you set like four times a week, running, or 6 or 5 or 6 or 7, just try to be consistent. Try to do it every single week, because the body will get used to it. So just try to get this consistency going. If one day you feel down, you just feel you have done too much, you're over it, just take a day relaxing with kids or family at home, or just do something else, just go to cinema or whatever. But just it needs to be a way to enjoy it, not a constraint. So keep enjoying it by taking it slowly and consistently. Then I think the fueling, the nutrition before the rising, the 2 weeks or 3 weeks actually, because the molecule inside the body need 3 weeks to renew, to get new. So it needs to be, it's key thing. So just thinking about drinking enough water. I think that's about a liter per 16 kg of weight. So I'm 70 kg, so this is about 3 to 4 liters. It seems quite a lot, but if you, another little tips, if you put like a little drop of fragrance you like inside, natural or whatever, it makes it easier to drink. Then food, try to cook it yourself, I would say. Don't buy all this junk food or already made food. I think it's not hard to put like quinoa or buckwheat or lentils or kumaras or pasta, whatever. I think it's just a matter of willingness. It's a way to as well feeding his body well is a way to as well compete well, because you're in a mindset positive. You're happy to eat your own food, even if though you're still buying the ingredients and veggies, but making it makes it special as well always. So you're kind of in a mood like you always enjoying what you're doing. I think, and if people want to go to the next level, it's just, if you already good runner or you had like major achievement finishing GSER or all the other races, I think every little races, I mean, just depending on the scales, but take it easy consistently. If you set targets like I would say a monthly target or weekly target, monthly target, 6 monthly target, and a year target. For example, for me, if I give an example, last year during Christmas, I was with all my friends back in France and family, and we were discussing the races and all the dreams we wanted to achieve during the year. And I pointed at GSER and said, okay, this is my goal. So what do I do to achieve that? So I need a lot of strength. I would be ready to rise for about 30 hours, because that was the time they were thinking of the leading time of the winner. So I knew that I would need some sleep. So before, in the preparation of the race, I had a lot of sleep, so good regeneration of the body, just making sure I was recovering during the night. So having I would say I tend to sleep I need quite a bit of sleep, so 9 to 10 hours is great for me. So it's just ideal. Below, I start little signs of tension, or not enough, but I can still handle it. But then good sleep, and then just listen to your body. Make sure you're not pushing it too much, despite the signs. So if you have access to chiropractors, I just can't say too much about it, because I don't know much about. I mean, my partner is chiropractor, but I can't tell you exactly what it is. But the benefit I've seen is just impressing. Like basically, the chiropractic is acting on your innate intelligence, so your body ability to heal itself. And it's all about the nervous system, all about making sure the messages are going through from your brain through the body correctly. And basically, this is making your body work ideally. And I've seen a mate, to be honest, 6 weeks before GSER, I didn't know that if I could run because of my ankle that I twisted. And in 3 weeks, I would say, just healed so fast, and I could be back and running. It was sore, but I kept listening to it, making sure I was not damaging it badly. So it's just a way of being able to turn your mind, make sure you're thinking about performance by listening to your body and not going against. Make sure you understand what you're doing, and it works for me, but it might not work for someone else. I've been on coaching. I'm interested in coaching, and I've been giving advice to friends. Basically, Christian Stockel, who finished 4th, is a great friend. He's part of the running group I lead on the Wednesday in Auckland, and he wanted some tips and some advices on training. He's a good runner, but he's fairly new as well in ultra running. And I realized that the training I gave him was similar to mine, but it was maybe not too much of that. It was not fitting his schedule perfectly. So just if you look at reaching the next step, something good for someone might not be good for you. So that's why you need to have quite a criticism about it. Just think about it, try it, like a kid, like without any expectations, and adapt it based on your feeling and the way you think it's good. But I think thinking the health as a whole thing, like make you think differently. So you're ready for, you think positively. All little signs you try. It's not about giving a sense to it, but if, for example, you're tired from work, you have a lot of pressure. You don't want to cook. Okay, that's fine for one day. You just need, so that's not a bad thing. You don't want to go running. That's fine. But the next days, try to understand what it did happen, and maybe it did happen because you did not fuel properly. You didn't have proper food, for example, or maybe you didn't plan. So I think planning is great. Just to anticipate and build a strategy around your achievement. And this is not all about running. This is most of it. This stays our passion. So we still have a life around except running. So we have our family, we have our work. So I think that's the pillars. If this goes well, your running will go well. And what is hard is when you start building training around a target. Just don't forget about all your friends that are not runners, and what I'm saying is try to stay social, try to socialize with others. Don't meant to be the guy who is only running and quit his friends and just don't talk to his non-runner friends. I think it's hard. It's really hard for me as well. But there is no way I would cut relationship with someone I knew before doing a lot of running. So it's all about getting this balance right, being well balanced. It's really important to be successful, I think. Sorry, excuse me. So especially with ultra running, which you need to be pretty well balanced in your head, especially to perform well. So, does it make sense?
Yeah. Just a couple quick gear questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Headlamp. Right. What headlamp did you have?
I had a pedal now. So long life battery. We can adapt to the luminosity, to the environment where you are. So pretty low luminosity. I set it on low luminosity so to last long. So it went through nearly all the night. Then I had a second torch, black diamond, just to use as a spare torch. They're pretty heavy, but they're really good head torches.
Now, what about with your hydration? Do you go bottles or bladder?
I go bottles because it's easy to see what's left. While the bladder, it's just impossible. It's just a feeling, but you never know. And when you want water, you run empty, and you didn't anticipate that. It's why I like to see what's going on there.
And with the bottles, you go the soft ones or the hard?
I have both. I better like the soft ones because when empty, you can just push it through in the bag or in the short. You can just store it easier and then put some nutrition instead. But I have both.
And also poles. Did you use poles at all?
Yeah, I started with poles and I finished with poles. I use them all the time because I on the technical thing, it's like giving me an additional 2 legs. So I think it's really, for me, I like the stability running with poles. Even though when it was really technical, it was not sometimes really easy. But I think it's just a matter of training. And to be honest, I really think it's giving you an advantage running with poles. It's saving your quads uphill, downhill, giving you stability. But you need to know how to properly run with poles.
Backpack. What backpack did you have or vest?
So I ran with Ultraspire. Zygos. I'm lucky enough to I'm being ambassador for ultra running and Ultraspire on Jubo. So these backpacks have been designed by ultra runners. They're really efficient bags. I mean, you don't get a cramp reaching your pulse at the back or your phone. This is really made from runners. That was yep.
What was it? It was Ultraspire. What? Which one?
I think that's the Zygos, but I'm not too sure now. This is the blue one. It's big volume. And there's I really like these bags. I think that's the Zygos. Yep. Yeah, and the Alpha is the smaller one. Yeah.
And the shoes, you said you're an ultra ambassador. What model did you were wearing?
I had the Lone Peak 3.5.
Yep.
Basically, this is these are the best shoes I've ever wear before. I used to run with Salomon quite a lot, but I in the past, so the Saints mainly, and I loved it. I still love it. I still have a few pairs, but they're on the technical and alpine, they are really good, but they're really rigid, so you need to have proper technique to run with these. While the ultra running is like so comfortable and you have so much space and you're still controlling your shoe. I mean, still technical terrain is still specific. So it's just like made it perfect for ultra running. It works well with me. I think everyone who's trying ultra shoes at the moment are just amazed by the comfort of it, and I think it's really important.
Just going back to the poles, what brand of poles do you use?
I use the Black Diamond Alpine series, so this is my ski poles as well.
All right, yeah. Cool. Now, so whereabouts can people find you online?
So you can find me online on Facebook or the social media on Martin Kern Endurance. So I have an athletes page, but as well on Instagram. So as Kern Martin. I think there is a bar in the middle.
Yep. But I'll put those links in the show notes.
Oh, great, yeah. Thank you. That's it.
Yep.
Then I have my own personal page as well on Facebook.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks again for your time, and congratulations on winning the Great Southern Endurance Run. It's an incredible effort and an incredible achievement, to finish it. And you with the time of 29 hours and 9 minutes, it's unbelievable. But really appreciate your time, and there's a lot of good nuggets in this interview that I'll have to go back and listen to.
Thank you very much for introducing me to this, and thank you very much. It's giving back all my learnings and all what I've been said. So I'm really happy to discuss all these and help people achieving their dreams.
Yep, no worries. And have you got a big goal for 2018? Have you got UTMB in your sights at all, or have you thought of anything a main one for next year?
Yeah, I've just integrated a new team, French team, that will make me access the Trail World Tour. So might be with UTMB. And but my personal target, I wanted to achieve for my 30th birthday. I wanted to achieve the Diagonale des Fous in La Réunion Island. It's about 160k. It's known as the toughest and the most scenic and great environment. People are going crazy in that island just over a weekend for that race.
Yep.
So it's about 160k with 13,000 vertical meter, I think.
13,000, jeez.
Yeah, I think, or 10 or 13. It's part of. It was part of the Trail World Tour, but the whole island is just living for that race.
Yep.
My mother-in-law did it, and she can always. She when she talks about it, she always has this smile that makes you want to go there.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
So
good.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely be following your progress, online, and keeping an eye out for you, down the track. But thanks again for coming on, and it's been great speaking with you.
Thank you very much. Okay. It was a pleasure.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You've just been listening to the Born to Kick Arse podcast at borntokickarse.com. If you liked what you heard and want more, please subscribe on iTunes. Give a 5-star rating and a Kick Arse review. This really helps to boost our presence and continues to allow us to introduce you to the most fascinating people on the planet. Welcome aboard, and catch you next time.